Are you struggling to keep up with boxing? Download the Boxing Showtimes app for the latest fight schedules, full undercards, boxer stats, news, and real-time updates. It's more than just an app, it's the boxing community you want to join.
Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. We are live and direct. Well, not live actually. We're pre-recorded from the BYD showroom in Sheffield on New Year's Eve. We've got a special guest for episode 24 in the Bruce Leone's podcast, Liam Cameron. Liam, thank you for coming down, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good. Be next to Dom, Sheffield legend trainer.
Legend, I think. I've got to split that word up to legend. It's we've had to come in early because it's New Year's Eve, and in true Sheffield fashion, I think Liam's going out tonight and getting smashed around town. That's what you do in Sheffield on New Year's. No, you're going to go out and get smashed to bits.
I'll say this: tomorrow or the next day, January 1st. It's been 2 years I ain't touched a drop of alcohol. No,
I was going to mention that. I can't believe that's on my notes because I remember you told me that in that interview we did.
So yeah, it's been.
You feel better for it?
Yeah,
that was a little bit of a pause. Yeah, not like 100%. Like,
because I don't really know because I'm used to this, Liam.
Yeah.
If you asked me before, I just wanted to get off alcohol, and I was digging my own hole, and you're slowly doing it.
How many brown bins did you have outside the house? You know, what bottles?
Loads.
Did you have, like, 'cause we get one brown bin, did you get two?
It were embarrassing.
Yeah.
It were flooded. You have to squeeze canning each place. It were bad.
Yeah.
You're all right about brown bin. When you look at your brown bin, you know if you're a bad drinker. It's overflowing, and mine were.
And look, the blessing that's come from not drinking and obviously sorting your life out. You sat here next to famous Dominic Ingle, and obviously the most famous boxer in Sheffield, Dom.
Yeah, I think at the minute he's grabbed the headlines only with his performance against the new Nazim Ahmed Ben Whittaker, and I always had a feeling, not backtracking, but I always had a feeling that if the proper Liam Cameron turned up, who we know and love, he was going to cause Ben Whittaker some problems, and obviously he did. He just walked straight into him, and I think, I watched that fight, and it was like a video game when you're trying to drain some of your energy, and shots were just bouncing off Liam. You could see Ben Whittaker slowly losing his confidence, bit by bit, punch by punch, and thinking, why ain't this kid falling for it all? But Liam's come from Sheffield, and we've got hundreds of fighters like Ben Whittaker, that kind of style, elusive, hit you, not get hit, mess you around. He sparred with them all, KELL, BROOK. You've got Ryan Rose back in the day. There's loads of fighters like that, and especially the gym what he trains at. So, it's not something he's not used to seeing, and I think that's what kind of threw Ben Whittaker off.
Okay, well, we're going to touch on some of the stuff. You've had an amazing 2024. I think if you look at boxers in the UK, you might have had probably the best 2024.
Do you know what? It weren't expected. I just come back to say F you to people, prove a point to myself. I actually thought, make a tiny bit of money. I had a goal of 20 grand, get a deposit for an house, like I said. And I bypassed it. I'm like, it's crazy. And I think in life, you just do your best and don't expect anything. And if you don't expect anything,
Can't be disappointed, can you?
Can't be disappointed.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. So, before we jump into all the boxing talk, I'm just going to shout out BYD. I've got an amazing offer on the black car that you can see just behind Dom in the middle over there. The BYD is a hybrid. It does 679 miles. They've got on a special offer. If you ring up the showroom, I'll have the telephone number in the description and the pin to the comments. You ring up the showroom, it's basically £399 deposit and £399 a month, and the interior of that car is mental. What do you think, Dom? A 4x4 for £399 a month?
It's for peanuts, isn't it? It's but after this interview, I'm going to have a mooch around it, because I think we might be due for an update, me and you, with these cars we've had.
An upgrade. To be fair, I'm quite happy with my Seal, to be fair. Yeah, but again, like I said, it's a brilliant offer, and it's on for a limited time. So if you hit up BYD, and it has to be from this showroom in Sheffield, because this is the UK head office, and this is where you're going to get the best deals from. So the number will be up in the description. Dom, we talked about it last week. My phone's been crazy because people have been DMing me and messaging me on Instagram. Where's this Dominic Ingle book? I think you've released it, £7.50, the new meal book. It's out.
Yeah, it's out. It's finally out. I've had to put it on Patreon. I had a lot of issues trying to get up to be an ebook with certain things. So in order to get it out for the new year, I put it on Patreon. It's £7.50. Sign up through the website on the Patreon, because if you do it through the app, it's going to cost you more money. Obviously, you're going to put a link on for this.
Yes.
It's just healthy food, Obviously, I had a book a few years ago called Real Food, which did tremendously well. That was 5 years ago, and this one's been a long time in the making, and not because it's getting the ideas together. It's more to do with having the time to do it, and it's finally out. And it's called Real Food 2, not TWO as in TOO as in also. It's in a complement to the other book, and it's got about 25-30 types of meals in it, ideas to eat healthily. It's not about losing weight, but if you've no idea how to eat healthy, this is the book for you. Everybody's got smashed over Christmas, put weight on, they're out eating every time. If you just stick to get these books that I've wrote, it gives you an idea what's healthy without trying to kill yourself to lose weight. If you want to lose weight, eat healthily, just exercise, walk. You don't have to go on these lose a stone in a month diets where you're going to put it all back on as soon as you go out and have a meal. As Liam will tell you, he's had the pleasure of being looked after and losing weight, and it's an hard way to lose weight when somebody's cooking your food and making you eat stuff you don't want to eat. This book, quite an interesting book, and it's got a lot of variety in it. It's interesting to eat, and it's healthy as well.
And just for the people who have been asking me, so I'll put the link in the comments to the YouTube video, and obviously you'll share it it'll be on your Instagram bio.
It's on my Instagram. You can keep clicking on there. The link will be there.
£7.50, yeah?
£7.50. £7.50, but sign up through the Patreon website. Don't do it through the app because you'll pay more for it. So you go onto Patreon. I've got a Patreon account, and it's on there. You just click on the link on there, and you'll get the book for £7.50. 30 odd pages of recipes.
One more thing as well before we jump into the boxing, we launched another new podcast series yesterday. This one's called Boxing Kings. People kept moaning about the name Brutally Honest. Just for clarity, that's the name of this podcast. It's not, I'm not, what's the word now? Not clickbaiting the titles, but that's the name of the podcast because Dom is brutally honest. But the new one that we've launched is called Boxing Kings, where we're going to be talking to boxers from around the world on a one-to-one basis. Episode 1 dropped yesterday. With Bernard Hopkins. Give it a watch. It's on our channel now. So let's jump into current times, Liam Cameron. Before we talk about anything, Liam, I'm going to start with you. I've got to ask you, tell me your first memory of Dominic Ingle, the first time you saw him. Was he intimidated? Because a lot of people tell me he comes across as quite an intimidating person when they first meet him.
Is it prescribed or is it describing it? I've described Dominic Ingle. I'm a bit nervous coming down here because he's got that guard up and he's got that stone face. So I'm thinking, is he going to be all right with me? But he's sound, isn't it? He's sound, though. That's why I'm here doing it.
Yeah. But what's your first memory of Dom? Like first time you met him walking into the gym, whatever. Do you remember it?
I can remember it. We're chatting to each other.
I think the first time might have been outside on Minna Road with Steve Barnes, weren't it? We were around that way because he lived down on Minna Road, didn't he? You were training with Steve and his lad at the time.
Training with Steve. I had my first 2 fights at, I think it was Unity back then. You had your home Sean, that Rotherham place. Yeah. It's Summit Bridge.
I don't know where it were that.
And yeah, I actually boxed on there.
Did you?
And
was Steve training you?
Steve training, but it was double gym, weren't it? Like,
yeah,
your dad's owned that back then.
Were it at Pitworth Road?
Pitworth
Road.
Yeah. Still got lines like Brendan Payton and stuff to this day, like Bang.
It's still a gym, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still
Steve's still up there. Yeah.
Well, Steve actually owns it now.
Yeah,
like, runs it.
So that was your first memory?
My first memory.
First interaction that you.
I think first interaction were asking me to come down to spar KELL. So I can't remember saying I'm going to knock KELL out. Probably did. Probably a bit daft back then, but I probably did think, yeah, I'm going to go to there and I'm going to smash KELL BROOK up. And I got shock in my life because he actually punched through my guard. No one could get through my guard. And KELL's timing and his power ripped through my guard. I'm like, what? He's a welterweight, I'm a middleweight here. And went back to the drawing board. Then I think they used me quite a lot. It weren't just two times.
I think in my recollection, you sparred him twice. You came down because Mark Woolley were doing your conditioning, and you came down. I'd forget what you were fighting for. You might have been fighting for Dennis Hobson, but you came down and you did 6 rounds with KELL.
Yes.
And you sparred him, and it was a decent enough spar. And like it'd be fair to say, KELL got the top side here. Yeah. And then you came down again and you sparred him again. And I don't think you came. That's when you didn't train with us. I can always remember when you come to train with us. I said, so what did you think about? This is the conversation. I mean, you've had a couple of red shots in between, so I'd like to say my memory's a bit better.
Definitely.
I can always remember saying, what did you think when you came down to spar? Kel, I have to do this accent. This is how it sounds to me. It went proper typical broad Yorkshire. Well, you know, I came down to it, Jim, and I thought I'm going to knock him out because I was knocking everybody out in sparring, and I got shock in my life. That's a bit of a Liam Gallagher, Liam Gallagher, Liam Cameron accent.
Come with that, man.
And I said, why would you think that? I says, because like I couldn't quite understood why you think you're going to come down to the gym and knock somebody out in sparring, because sparring's for sparring, not knocking people out. But you did say at the time, everybody you sparred, you like kind of stood them on their head, or you stopped them, or they couldn't carry on. And I thought, has he not got like a proper like view on reality? Like, this is KELL BROOK, but you've got to have that kind of opinion about yourself. And Liam was, you know, probably at that time, there was probably no other fighters prospect-wise, because he's a bit younger than KELL, prospect-wise, who were as good as probably him and KELL BROOK, because at that time you would think him, KELL BROOK. Who else would you think at that time in Sheffield, really? Because you've done ABAs or something.
I was British champ amateur, KELL British champ pro, so I just thought.
So I don't think there anybody. I don't know if there anybody other prospects at the time. But, yeah, maybe because he's your age, Barry. But I'm just saying that probably them three. So you were like coming through at the time, weren't you? Yeah. So you probably did have that opinion of yourself. And then obviously you came and trained with me, you know, which were another part of your career. But you did actually say that it's not something I'm going to make up. And I just thought I couldn't quite get my head around that thing of thinking that, oh, when you go to sport, you're going to knock people out. Because I've had people come to my gym from different gyms that they've met in the middle, and they've had, you know, they've tried to have tear-ups, and I've had to stop it. They're not my kids, and I've said, listen, that's not kind of sparring we have in this gym. Like, you're trying to knock each other out. What you're doing, that's not the way you do it. And even though they weren't my kids, but if you want to spar like that, go and do somewhere else. But nobody's getting knocked out in this gym, not in sparring anyway. So it kind of struck me with Liam when he was a bit like, wow, I couldn't understand it because I was bigger than him, and you know, he could punch, and I thought I'm going to get topside him. But it's like anything else, it's just a reality check, innit? And it makes you realise where you are and what you've got to do to get where you need to be.
Funny story is, when we used to go to Fuerteventura, Dom made this group chat up. So it was based around KELL. There were 5 of us around KELL's weight. So every night we'd be looking who's copying fit sparring, and there was this one guy, I'm not going to mention his name.
Go on, I'll probably work it out anyway.
Blonde-haired guy. So it was his turn, and we were all laughing at him. So gets in,
Jack.
KELL bang, drops him, and he had a big well under his eye, and we were all laughing at him. We were all laughing, but then obviously a couple of days later it was my turn. But it was amazing to watch KELL. For a welterweight as well, and he just used to. One day you'd get him though, you'd have him. Yeah. Then there'd be another day, and he'd be like bang, he'd be on it, and
you might catch him. You might catch him on an off day.
Off day, it was great. I caught him on a few off days, but when he were on it, listen, he's the hardest person I've ever sparred, and to this day as well.
Well, we love talking about boxing, but now that you mentioned Fuerteventura, I just thought top of my head, this, I'm sure fans will find this intriguing. So you as a boxer, you're going out, Dom's got you all together in a camp. He's like the teacher, babysitter, whatever, you know, he's there, you know, keeping the discipline in camp. But I know boxers look for any chance to, you know, get out on a night time or have a cheat meal or something like that. So you're there. Share some stories with us now, Liam, that Dom may not know about. What did you guys get up to when Dom wasn't watching?
Not me, but there were a few what sneaked off and got pissed a couple of nights. I'm not going to mention names, Lee Wood, but he was one of them. But I don't think he was training at all.
No, he wouldn't have had a fight coming up.
He wouldn't have had a fight coming up, but we were a good laugh, you know. I think I had a bottle of champagne on playing coming back, me and Carl Baker. I was sat next to Carl, and he's a big lad in a car, but what a lovely guy he were. So,
because I know KELL's told me in the past about rappers flying about and, you know, always trying to sneak chocolates in and stuff like that. So that's the worst you got up to then?
KELL were guarded, weren't he? He had a few bodyguards around him. He had Dom, he couldn't get out. No, we had.
Yeah, when we went on these training camps, you'd have somebody like KELL Greg the nutritionist, me, Kid Gallard, we'd be in one place. Then there'd be two or three other villas with the rest of the kids in. You know, because obviously it was KELL's camp, and some of these kids were fighting, some weren't. But like, they get up to all sorts. But you know, there's loads of these stories, and that's an all new another podcast. I mean, years ago we went to a place called Infidel Mar in Gran Canaria when we first went on training camps back in 2000 when Johnny was the world champion. It was the same for him, and I always remember Johnny was in serious training, and this place had got levels. It was like a you know, like a big tower block, but not a tower block, but long, and it got levels and balconies and stuff, and there were lifts. And we're on this particular floor, and it's just long floors and alleyways, like walkways. And we'd been out for something to eat, and them days it was Junior Whittaker, Isham Pickering, Kid Gallard was only about 15. We had about 10, 15 kids, and we'd been out for something to eat. I went, right, everybody to bed, we're up early in the morning. But these have got different ideas, so they're a few levels above me, and they've all gone back to the room, and I'd give it half an hour. I thought, I'll just give them half an hour first, let them settle. Now they're either going to go to bed, or they're all going to get showered and get ready and sneak off out. So I could hear them all on the walkway above me, and I've got the door open anyway. I can hear the lift pinging, and they're going to come down in my lift. So I press the button on my lift, and as they're coming down, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, the lift stopped, the door's open, they're all dressed up. I went, what are you doing? Faces dropped. I went, get back upstairs, back to bed. Anybody sneaks out, I says, you're done, that's it, you're all back on next plane back home. Oh, it's last night. I went, now, back up to bed. And next day, all them in that lift, they got a right pasting in sparring, because there were obviously a few who weren't going out. They had to train. I think I trained them about 4 or 5 times that day. They're absolutely wasted by the time they finish. And that separates the men from the boys. And it's them who can exert the discipline when you're away from home and do the training. But, you know, a number of times, you know, fighters were out till 4 and 5 in the morning, and then getting up, training, and going back to sleep and doing it all again. You know, that's what they do.
It's interesting because we're touching on the part of discipline, because discipline is a big part in the sport, isn't it? And I think that's what Bernard Hopkins told me. Discipline is what was the main reason behind his success. So, you know, when in your drinking days and stuff, I'm guessing he was probably not as dedicated. Any stories from that period of your life that you think
So
that you could probably similar to what Dom's saying there? Ever get caught out messing about like that?
no, because if I were training, I wouldn't drink because I'd be knackered. But I'd have drunk at weekends and hopefully got over it till Monday. But if I were in fighting camp, I wouldn't drink, no way. But
Is it safe to say that most of this, when you're into heavy drinking, is when you're on your ban?
bam,
Yeah, it's like you tend to find, I mean, you can imagine him, he's boxed all his life from being a kid. He's got this ban for recreational drug, which I still think stupid. It's ridiculous. He got 4 years of his career wiped out. And I would imagine in that period of time he didn't box, and all you do is spend your time. You go 2 ways. You either carry on training and think, right, I'm going to get to the end of this, I'm going to get back on track. Or you get to the point where you just think it's futile, there's no point, nothing's going to happen, and you kind of get into bad habits and bad ways, drinking or whatever. And you can imagine he went to the lowest of the low, to the lowest point you can, and then you get to a point where you're either going to fill yourself, you're going to do yourself in, or you're going to come back from it. And fortunately, Liam came back from it. He got to the darkest depths, and asked a few questions about himself, and look where he is now. He's managed to climb out of that hole, get all the way back up again. And really, 34. It's not an age to be boxing when you've had 4 years out of your career. But he's come back. You think of the amount of drink he's had and the way he's abused himself. He's pulled himself back, and he's had 2 big fights and accounted, give a good account of himself. So it's very possible. But you have to go to a place and dig deep to get out of that. And so many fighters don't. It's a downward spiral what they never come back from. So you've got to give him credit for managing to crawl out of that hole and pull himself back out. And he's boxed on what, 2 TV shows now, is it?
one way Lindenhofer.
Yeah.
Listen, he's took Bivol all the way. He were IBO world champ. You've got to class it, haven't you? He's beat Yard. I know he got beat by him. Then you fight Olympic silver medalist, what the whole world's talking about. And it were to the day we a year I boxed Ben Whittaker. I've been back boxing, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I am proud of myself for what I've done.
It is pretty mad. What I will talk about a few more stories, because I know from doing a bit of research that there's an interesting story where I'm going to get Liam to give his account of what happened, and then Dom can tell me what his recollection is. I don't know if you know which story I'm going to bring up. The infamous story of you and Time Booth making wait at Dom's house in a bath or something. Sounds very zesty. But
you know what? These memories are like. It's like people say, "Oh no, we did it." I'm like, "No," because it's traumatic.
well, I know Liam remembers it. So you tell me about that day.
Well, let's before we get to the making process, let's just have a little think about making weight. So he comes to the gym, Liam. He's got to make weight for a fight, and he's actually living in my grandma's old house, what we own. We've got him living there, which is just a few doors down from me.
So what was it like, Liam? What was the house like before Dom describes it?
Nice.
But it's not that, it's just that he's the type of kid who don't want to be away from his surroundings. He's an homeboy, he likes to be in his house with his surroundings, missus, kids, whatever. Most people are. But he's not the only one who's been in the house. We had to have KELL BROOK locked down in the house for the Senchenko fight.
KELL with you and I were.
Was there?
Yeah.
So it might have been around about that time. And yeah, it was the same time. So and it's really like a halfway house, that place. It's like you have to keep them there to keep an eye on them. And I always remember Liam came into the gym and he's supposed to be drinking, 4 or 5 litres of water a day, and he's training away. I said, "Liam, got your water?" He went, "Yeah." I goes, "Where is it?" Because it's in my bag. I goes, "Where's your bag?" He goes, "In changing room." I went, "Well, bring it out then and drink it." So he went to change room, had a drink, put it back in his bag, he's training away again. I went, "Liam, where's your water?" He goes, "Oh, it's in my bag." Never brought it into the gym. So he's dieting. We've got him on a diet. And one day we give him for his tea a massive salad, chicken in it, big plate full of food, everything, and he's got through with his salad anyway. Next day we give him some steak and veg and a nice meal, and he come up to me and went, "Oh, can I have a word?" I went, "Oh, something." He went, "Yeah, don't give me that steak and veg. It was like it's only like small stuff. Like it didn't really fill me up. That salad, what you give me?" He says, "Can I have that like more or less every meal, every night?" I went, "Yeah, if you want." Now this salad must have had about a quarter of the calories what this steak meal had got. But in his mind, because it was a big plate full and it was all to get through, he thought it was great, and we were laughing because we used to call it a big bowl of FA. Because that's what it were, and me and Greg, the nutritionist who did his diet, were laughing, thinking, "Why does this idiot want to be eating salad when he can have steak and veg? That's what we'd have." And he went, "No, I'm just happy with that salad." So he was stuck in that house, and so we got to where did we make the in my house, did we?
So what's your memories of it? Dom calls you around, you and Time Booth, to come and make a weight in his bath.
So Time Booth were boxing a guy from Rotherham. I forgot his name. Too many headshots. So I'm boxing. Who am I boxing? Harry Matthews again. So I've met way. So we're actually doing his way of rehydrating. So we're supping this water. But I'm sure you get as a bottle to piss in.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And I think that's why Tyan starts pissing in his bucket now.
Yeah. But did you do this in that house?
In that house.
Right, you made the way in there.
And you said to me, "Listen, don't let Tyan go anywhere. He's got to do this rehydration," because I think he took fighting a week notice for English title, and he had to rehydrate. So he got him in house. Tyan's like to me, "I'm not fucking staying here. This start of I'm going me." So I'm thinking, Dom's giving me responsibility to keep him here. So Tyan walks off. Dom comes, "Where's Tyan?" I've gone, I don't know where he's gone. I think he's just gone to the shop. So he's ringing him. An hour later, Tyan Booth comes back, and me and him's pissing in this bottle.
And the reason you have to piss in the bottle is to make sure that you can see how well they're hydrating. The darker it goes, it's obviously you're not hydrated. Eventually, when it becomes lighter, it does. So that's maybe where he's got that from. But Tyan was a one-off that way. The number of fights I took him to, and you'd turn around, he'd wander off. He'd be in a venue, and he'd be about half an hour away from a fight, and he'd just wander off. I took him to Canada one time, and I said, "Right, we're going to eat at this time, we're going to do that," and be ringing his room, but no answer. I'd have to go down and knock on the door, no answer. I'd have to get maid to come to the room and let me in. He'd be laid on bed with headphones in, just completely ignoring you. And it's such a strange kid, but when he got in and did the job, he could box when he put his mind to it. But like I say, you can see now with his strange ways, you've got to keep on top of them just to make them viable enough to box.
But you're mentioning pissing in the bottle. I think we're going to blame you, Dom, for Tyan's addiction to pissing bottles.
Is that what he's doing still? Didn't he once do that in a wine bottle and drink it?
Allegedly, yeah. But a quick funny story about him, when he fought in Dudley, when he did this white collar comeback, he checked into the venue, weighed in, I think it was about 2 or 3 hours before his fight. He went back to his hotel and watched Home Alone.
Did he?
Watched Home Alone in his hotel room, then came back and fought.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I think that was the night he walked out the ring. But talking of pissing in bottles, Dave Allen was supposed to be here today, but he's stuck with childcare. So, but whilst he's not here, I'm going to share a story of his. He pisses in the sink What is it with boxers? Why aren't boxers not pissing in toilets? Why is it bottles and sinks?
Do you know what? It's a bit.
Have you ever done that, Liam? Pissing in the sink?
I can't lie.
There's no hot water.
Do you know what I think it is? You know, when you're knackered, you can't be asked to go upstairs, so you piss in the sink. It's all the same, innit? It's all the drain, innit?
Well, do you know what?
I listen bucket, don't you?
You listen to this, like, you know, pissing in sink and pissing in bottles and everything else. It's
This
like
is what boxers get up to.
This is when you're drinking. Look, if you've never drunk 7 or 8 litres of water a day, and you're walking around with somebody like KELL and he's making weight, and that's what I used to drink. Every 15 minutes you're wanting to pee, and what I used to say is, look, get a Sunny D bottle. It's got a wide neck. Have it in car. Have one in car. Have one in your house. Have one downstairs, because it is a bit of a task when you're drinking that much water, peeing all the time. It's like with Dave Allen. It's like he's a big fella, and imagine him trudging up and downstairs. But you know, peeing in the sink is a new one, isn't it? It's a new one.
That is very random. And Liam, you know, when I interviewed you after your fight, I think it's this year. It's one of the most viral interviews I've done. I think last time I counted 5-6 million plus views across socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Basically, every platform did crazy numbers, and you will have seen it yourself. Like the amount of people with blue ticks that were interacting. I think top of my head, Declan Rice. I don't really follow football, but I know he's pretty big. You know, he messaged about it, and
Ian Wright messaged me.
Ian Wright, there you go.
They've all messaged me about it.
Listen, it's a good thing. I mean, you know, you're talking about, you know, people come to me, he's such an humble guy, and he's this and that. And I thought, well, I'll tell you a little story about Liam Cameron. When he boxed for me, I remember phoning him one night, and he never answered phone. Anyway, I woke up next morning, and I got a missed call from Liam Cameron. I thought, like, this is like 3 o'clock in the morning. Bit strange. Anyway, went to my voice notes, and there's a voice message. I thought, what's he sending me voice notes for at 3 o'clock in the morning? It might have been between 1 and 3. I'm thinking a bit strange, so I'm playing it anyway. Blooming egg. I'm listening. I'm thinking, is this Liam Cameron? And it's this conversation, and he's obviously he's pressed his phone accidentally in his pocket, and somebody's rolled up outside his house early hours at morning, and he's obviously open bedroom window, whatever it is. I don't know the scenario. This is what's in my mind. And he's having this shouting match with somebody in Gordon, and he's telling this kid, blah, blah, come down, I'm gonna do it. And I'm thinking, it's Liam Cameron, like this, you know, when he comes down, never, yeah, all right, very polite, never aggressive. And obviously there's some kids rolled up on his doorstep. Where is it you live?
Sheffield over there.
Well, we're not going to say, but he lives on an estate. So I don't know if you remember this, and and he won't have even known because I've never told him until today. And this kid's trying, I have to come down. I'm thinking, bloody hell, like, you want to get wrong side of him. Walked in next day, and I went, all right, Liam, yeah, all right, mate. Just carrying this train like nothing had happened.
I suppose you remember any of this, do you, Liam?
I think it might have been an incident where someone nicked me bike. I went to the shop on kid's bike.
Really, or not?
It will have been a bit late, won't it?
It must have been because it was daft time.
A bit late. I think someone nicked me bike. See, I'm right nice until someone pisses me off. I've got that ADHD rage, haven't I? So I keep it under control now. But back then a bit, I used to have this, like, if I can't find a place where to go, I'm like, God, what's happening?
And this conversation, honestly, we're about 10 minutes.
I remember that. I forgot about that, I know.
But you didn't know, did you? You didn't know that you'd sent that message?
No, I didn't know. And like, I can remember, I think you pulled me on it, and I thought, oh my God, what have I said? Because I'm really respectful to everyone, do you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to let a bit of steam off, don't you?
I think the only place I normally see you letting steam off is on your mate Hassan. You terrorise the poor bloke every time he comes to your house. Some good banter.
I've known him for 20 odd years, Hassan. He's like that kid off, $1 Million Baby. It's
like your little brother, isn't
he? It's like him. It's like, I look after him, innit? He's a good lad. He'll be like sat watching with telly. I'll go upstairs laughing, loading BB gun, and he'll be oblivious. I must have shot him 20 times, and this is a gas BB gun. It kills. So I'll be watching telly. I'll get his ankle like that, and I'll record. And I'll go bang, and it kills. And I must get him like a couple of times a day with it.
I bet he does. And was talking about the views and the eyes that came on that interview, and you know the way you came across, etc. I know you've had loads of stuff that's come on the back end of it. One is a new hairline.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this hairline. You're going to do a
Something
review.
getting mine done.
Shall I get monstrosity out?
Go on.
Look at that.
Jeez.
It's all right. I'm showing myself up on this. This was the original hairline. This was non-existent, this bit.
How long's that been?
About 4 weeks, but it comes, then I lost it, now it's on growing
It
stage
grows there and back,
again.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it will thicken up.
It will thicken up,
Do you
yeah.
ever think about having beard took off and stuck on your head? Because you can do it, can't you?
Yeah, that's me little baby, this beard. When I stopped drinking and stuff, I grew it. I'm right daft. One day I'll wake up and I'll think, oh, I'm going to have a cross on my face today. I'll go out and get a cross on my face.
If push comes to shove, will you, and that hair don't come back properly, will you take beard off and stick it on or not?
Probably. Need some of that Gorilla Glue, innit?
I'm saying, but you can take it off your beard, can't you?
Yeah, but it's like curly, innit?
Yeah, but you think, it's like I'm thinking, like I'm completely bald. I'm 57. I've got a massive hairy chest. I've got an even worse hairy arse and legs. And I'm thinking, if worse comes to worse and I want to take myself back 10 years, I'm going to have it took off all them places. You know what I mean?
It won't be a bit strandy, won't it, on arse? Do you know what I mean? They take it from back at head. You want some good head of hair. They'll do it. They can do you in about 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Arshed. If I put you in touch with him.
Well, do you know what? When he had his done, Kid Gala, some company did it over in Turkey for free, and they've done a good job on his. And they only give him X amount of things, so you can have some more. He got plenty of hair out back. But yeah, I think I'd look weird with hair now. I think I'm past that point. But you're only young, aren't you? You're 20 odd years younger than me, so you've got time to grow with it.
So as well as free hair, what else have you kind of experienced? What are the things that people just throw
I thought you might have upgraded that silver tooth to gold.
It's platinum, innit?
Is it? Oh, that's what it is then.
Everyone says that. They'll go, get that silver tooth out. And I think, silver? Why would I go to a dentist and go, oh yeah, pal, put me a silver tooth in? It's platinum. I got it done for free. I've got a mate.
You could put a white one. Why would you not put a normal tooth in?
Don't know.
It goes with cross.
Okay.
Because we're cross, innit?
Any other goodies come your way?
I got a sponsorship. Really good amount of money.
What about your contract with Frank Warren? Has that come about?
Yeah, that's come about.
Oh, yeah.
That one. I've got that one.
Good.
As soon as I got out at ring, within an hour, Lee went, Frank Warren wants to sign you. I thought, what? I can't believe this. It took how many years? 20 years for someone to recognise me. Ends up signing with Frank Warren. And yeah.
When's the next fight?
I'm 100% told it's 100% happening in the last week of March, the first week of April. It's 100% Ben Whittaker. He wants the fight. I want the fight.
Is that on the Frank Warren show or a boxer show?
Bit boxer show. I've said, listen, I'll go to Backgarden. I'll go to, where's he from? Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
I'll fight him there. It's not big enough though, is it? I'm going to take 1,000 at least. Crazy Sheffield lads.
Well, you know what? On that, I didn't know that, and that's obviously a bit of an exclusive. But I think Ben deserves all the credit in the world for taking you on straight away, because we saw the narrative, people saying, oh, he's going to avoid him, he's going to go down a different route. If he's saying, I want to take him on straight away.
Listen, until we actually step in the ring, talk is cheap as the saying.
I'm saying, if it's what you're saying is true, it's definitely happening, then he's got to give him the plaudits.
I've been offered British title fight.
Against
This
who?
is what, is it Louis Edmondson?
Louis Edmondson, yeah.
He's a good fighter, done well, only 10 fights. I've been offered that fight. I'm in talks with Arthur, rematch. Don't know what that's for. That's actually a purse bid fight. Don't know how that works, but... So yeah, I'm turning these fights down. Well, I've put one on hold until we get the rematch with Ben. So I'm waiting patiently. There's nothing to do with me. I'll fight him in his backyard, as Tyson Fury says. So...
rated for that, I think, if that fight does come off. And awkward question for you. I know you used to train with Dom. How come you left Dom and went to Grant Smith? No pressure.
Why I left? I might have to have a think about this.
One, two, let's go.